Pep Guardiola, Johan Cruyff, Lionel Messi, these three names are synonymous with Barcelona.
Al Barça.
And Cruyff said, okay, from now on we are going to play in that way. Going to take the ball, the positional.
People pin most of Barcelona's success on these three men. But there's one name that gets forgotten about. There's this one maverick that the world doesn't mention.
Un cambio importante para el Fútbol Barcelona.
Porque
en ese momento ser barcelonista o militar.
He is like Superman. He joined when they were down bad. Propelled them to the highest ranks in football. A Brasileiro who arrived in 2003. When Barcelona missed out on Beckham, new president Juan Laporta had to produce a big name. To appease the fans who voted him in. Barcelona snatched Ronaldinho under the noses of Manchester United for a fee of £25 million.
Vai negociando com o Manchester United, time incrível, brigando por todos os títulos na Europa.
En el caso Ronaldinho se ha agotado y el brasileño parece casi seguro que no jugará en el club azulgrana.
Barcelona had gone through a terrible period. The Juan Gaspart era had been disastrous, and Barcelona had not won anything since the 98-99 season. In the 2001-2002 seasons, Barca finished 4th, and in 2003, Barca finished 6th. This was a time when Barcelona had fired Frank Rijkaard as their new coach, and new club president had arrived too. New young manager Marquis signing a new president? The club had been set on a new course that perhaps even the board and fans didn't expect. One which laid the foundations for Barcelona and Spain that we know today. At the turn of the 20th century, Spanish football offered consistent challengers for the Champions League. Real Madrid and Valencia reached the finals 4 out of 5 times between 1998 and 2002. Florentino Perez, a Spanish businessman, took over as Real Madrid's president in 2000. And he had inherited a team that had just won 2 Champions Leagues in 1998 and 2000. Perez had won his presidential campaign by promising to bring in arch-rivals Barcelona's star man, Luis Figo. He promised as president he would embark on a Galacticos project, which for many meant buying the best and biggest name brand players in the world. However, the term was also described as bringing the most lavish stars in the world while promoting the best players from the club's youth academy. Of course, this didn't work long, as having a group of players with significant wage gaps will cause problems. Real Madrid ended up signing Zidane, Ronaldo Nazario, and Beckham. The potential in bringing all these players together was huge, but the reality was quite different. At first, it started successfully, winning the 2002 UEFA Champions League with Zidane scoring arguably the most iconic goal in the tournament's history.
into the penalty area towards Zidane.
Yet the Galacticos project ended up being something of an anticlimax. Real Madrid ended up destroying a winning team with constant egos that needed validation. Most star teams usually have one player or none who are above all. Real Madrid had Ballon d'Or candidates scattered everywhere. This caused issues when the team was out of possession. Many stars did not want to track back. It is a similar issue we saw with Paris Saint-Germain when they had Messi, Mbappe, and Neymar. Real Madrid sacked Vicente del Bosque in 2003 after winning the league and previous Champions League success in 2002. They wanted to shake things up. He sold key defensive midfielders and balancer Claude Makelele to Chelsea, as he felt he deserved to be paid a better salary. A quote from Florentino Perez goes like, "We will not miss Makelele. His technique is average. He lacks the speed and skill to take the ball past opponents, and 90% of his distribution is either backward or sideways." Damning statement from a president, but he soon regretted it. With Makelele in the team, it had balance.
It was fundamental. He gave us so much balance. He really was the point of balance in that team because it was so offensive.
Selling Makelele without a replacement ruined the balance. In the years after Makelele, Real Madrid signed more attacking talents in Robinho and Michael Owen, yet were not able to replicate their previous triumphs. It didn't work as planned for Florentino Perez and the success of Real Madrid. Their potential dominance of the early 2000s was lost. Meanwhile, at Barcelona, the first season under Rijkaard saw the side finish second behind Rafa Benitez's Valencia. It was not an easy first season. In January, they spent time languishing in mid-table. The pressure on the new coach was very high. Rijkaard decided to bring in combative midfielder Edgar Davids to the No Camp for much-needed steel in the midfield. This was important in allowing the maverick Ronaldinho to express himself and do damage in the final third. It was in the 2004-2005 season that Ronaldinho truly put Barcelona back on the map.
Ronaldinho, el primer shoot.
Vertical, que bonito el caño sobre Guti. Ronaldinho en disparo, golpeó el Raúl Bravo.
Oleguer ha tocat d'esquena, begut amb Juli, gol! Ha fet l'assistència sense voler-ho.
The performances of Ronaldinho and Eto'o earned them both places in the FIFA World 11, and Ronaldinho was named FIFA World Player of the Year. His most iconic moment that year was the goal at Stamford Bridge. You know the one I'm talking about, the toe poke. That goal that left Jose Mourinho's Chelsea and Stamford Bridge in awe.
Oh, it's a terrific goal. Wonderful, wonderful goal. Absolutely breathtaking. Ronaldinho.
It's like he made the whole pitch freeze. In 2005-2006 season, Barcelona won the league again, and they ended up staging a heroic comeback against Arsenal in Paris, Ronaldinho's first and only ever Champions League. This was very important for Barcelona. They had many young players from La Masia in the squad, including Xavi, Iniesta, Puyol, and Valdez. The team that went from finishing 6th in La Liga was now playing the best football in the world. The Champions League success would be the pinnacle for Ronaldinho and Rijkaard. They got knocked out in the last 16 by Liverpool in the following season and allowed Real Madrid to win back-to-back La Liga titles. Ronaldinho was sold in 2008. At the same time, Rijkaard was sacked too. While Barcelona was in small turmoil, Spain was gearing up for the 2008 European Championship in Switzerland and Austria. Spain manager Luis Aragonés decided to build a team around the strengths of Xavi and Iniesta. Spain ended up winning the competition, their first trophy in 44 years. A phenomenal achievement. The core of the team included many Barcelona players. Could we say that Ronaldinho had an impact in raising the level of the Spanish players? For many of those players, you can argue Ronaldinho installed a belief in their abilities to win and help develop their game. Spain had always been underachievers, but Ronaldinho helped push them over the final line. He was the star of those Barcelona teams, and the others followed suit. Could it be that Ronaldinho was the catalyst for all the work Cruyff had done? He was the ignition that lit the flames in these players, enhancing their belief that their style of play could be successful. Before Ronaldinho arrived, Barcelona must have felt amid an existential crisis, yet his arrival brought back the belief and produced success. Although Guardiola removed Ronaldinho from the club when he arrived, he had inherited a group of players who knew what success was and who were hungry to win more. Remember, too, that Spain had just won the Euros that summer, meaning that players like Valdez, Xavi, Iniesta, and Puyol had experienced success again. Their knowledge of how to win was enhanced, and therefore Guardiola was fortunate to inherit such a beautiful mix of talent and hunger, with players like Iniesta, Messi, and Bojan ready to step into the shoes of Ronaldinho and Deco. Although Ronaldinho's career at Barcelona dwindled, his influence on the fans of Barcelona and all over the world was perhaps the biggest influence on modern football. He single-handedly put Barcelona back on the map after so many years of being just an average European side. His arrival signified the start of a new era full of style, flair, and importantly, success for the club. How ironic, therefore, that he was the second-choice option after Beckham, a player who represented the old-school style of play of the 90s, whereas Ronaldinho represented the future of the game, or more so, the new cycle of the dribbler. Imagine if Barcelona had snapped up Beckham and United had got Ronaldinho. Would the landscape of football be different now? Fortunately, he arrived at Camp Nou, and the rest, they say, is history. Ronaldinho was the type of player that the 90s had seemingly left behind and who opened the footballing world's eyes to a new era of football. His majestic performances for Barcelona reignited the club as a dominant force and set in place the players and mentality seen at Camp, and so have the under-19s. For Spanish football, it's been a remarkable achievement. In the same period, the world has been blessed with the performances of Barcelona, who have dominated club football with their possession-based style, possessing some of the best technically gifted players to have graced the football. There have been many reasons that have been given as to why Spain and Barcelona have dominated world football these past several years. Whether it is the improvement in coaching quality laid down 20 years ago, the impact of Cruyff at Barcelona and his ability to transform the club into the Dutch model in terms of style and youth development, and even perhaps the removal of Raúl from the Spanish national side, as to reasons why Spain have begun winning things. All the reasons are in some ways valid and have contributed to the amazing achievements that the Spanish have accomplished. Yet developing players is one part of the development of successful teams. For me, there is something else that is required. The will to win, and most importantly, the knowledge of how to win. Could the key to the success, which has glittered Spanish, be down to one man, a Brazilian who arrived at Camp Nou in the summer of 2003?
This is a unique group of players. And this team is the best football team I've seen for 20, 30 years. I haven't seen anything better than this. It's just magnificent.